Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Doc from North America. And what are we doing today? What do we show up there? There's the dollar index. See, the dollar is not letting go, but I read a very interesting story today trying to compare the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, with the value of the dollar. And they were saying that it's down 20% over the last 3 years because of the CPI. I bookmarked it and I'm going to go through it a little bit more, but I found it pretty fascinating in the sense that it was an interesting way of trying to measure, because, you know, it's hard to take serious. Let's see if I can bring this even on the screen. I think I can bring this on the screen. Here we go. And it's an interesting. Oh, can't bring it on the screen that way. Nope, can't do that. Let's try this. Let's bring it onto the screen. Let's first go over to the dollar index on the next product. But I thought it would be an interesting conversation to start off with. Oh, let me get the chat line up also at the same time. Let's see right there. There's the chat line. Let's see what's going on this morning. I don't. Oh, I do see it. There's Robin. Hey, Robin. Janos. Hey, Janos. I'd like to look at ARM Holdings. ARM Holdings. There's an ARM index, but let's take a look at ARM Holdings. I will be around for 30 minutes before I have to run out for around 30 minutes. Okay, I'll do that right now then. Let's go after ARM index. Let's see. Where is that? Oh, skip that. There we are. And we're going to load ARM index. No, it's not an index. I'm sorry. There is the ARM index, though. Let me go find ARM. Let's go find ARM. Let's see. There's that. Let's go File, Open. And we'll find ARM. Let's see. Let's go there. Go there. And we're opening up that. Let's see. Bingo, bango, bongo. ARM index. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting to actually see, a combination like that. Let's just add it. Let's see. Activate. Copy. There we are. Paste. I thought that sounds like I'm not sure who wrote the article. It's out of Zero Hedge, so I'm going to chase it down basically. But I'm going to show it to you on the screen too once I put the ARM up first, since you're going to be disappearing very quickly. Say okay, and we'll go like that, and let's add the instrument. That sounds familiar. ARM, add a symbol. Okay, so let's do this. Oh, not there. Let's go like this. We want to look it up. Close. There we are. There we are, looking up. And so it's interesting that they're trying to value the I laugh. I have to laugh okay, there's the ARM. It's on the NASDAQ. Is that the NASDAQ? Philly. Okay. ARM, NASDAQ. Let's see, where's Smart? There it is, right there. ARM is on the NASDAQ. There we go. Okay, and here we go. Bingo, bango, bongo. But when they try to understand the dollar, most of the time people look at other pair trades. They look at different currencies to try to see if the dollar is gaining or losing. But then we look at the gold. Look at gold and silver. That's a pretty steady thing to look at. Okay, here we go. This is the ARM. It's $129. Why? I have to go back and see what I have to do. I have to get the weekly. Let's try to get the weekly out of it. Let's see, where is it at? Let's just go one more step. One more step to do this. And you know what? Let's do it. Should I do this? I'm going to put it up on the beta too, just to see where it's at. Let's see, right there. Let's put it on the beta platform also at the same time. There we go. And there, and there, and ARM, ARM. Save. There we go. Get rid of that. And now we'll give this a circle-y circle thing. Juice it up, and let's go find the arm. It should be all the way down at the bottom. There it is, arm. So there's the arm. You can see it's in a weekly sell now, going on a second week. No, there it goes. First week. Went into the weekly sell last week. And you can see the pressure on it right there. Actually, it's going into the sell this week, isn't it? The 25th? When was the 25th? Friday was the 22nd. All right, so it's starting into a sell. That's what it's doing. And at the same time, you can see it's 3 days now in a sell after this pop. And then yesterday, they... is this today or... Let's see what this is. I think this is yesterday. Right there. Yeah, that's the 26th. So it went into the sell on the 25th on this day right here at 138.31, and it's then it fell down to 138.31 and it closed at let's see what that is, 127.84, down about $10. And we'll see how they open. And then this morning it's trading flat at 129. Let's show you that. And I got it back. The data, there it is right there. So it's just at 129.36 at the moment as we speak. Let's widen this out. Let's see, what do we go like that? Remember, my math is set up for atomic theory, so it can be very, very tight. Let's see, what do I need to do? Lift this. Where's the lift? Right there. There we go. So same thing on our work right there. Went into the, that's the 25th. Did it make it into the cell there on the 25th? I don't see that as making it. See that plot 1 is, is that minus? I think it is a minus. No, it's not a minus. It's 0. Sure does look like it. No, it must be 0.12. So it didn't go into the cell here. It did not. Only the beta picked that up. And let's do this too. Let's move this over. You can see it went into the buy right here. And then it went into the sell right there, only one day, so that didn't last long. It's kind of choppy. The volume is very low. It must be very low. It's very, very, let's park that over there. Oh no, we can do this. We can move this over to here. Went into the sell right there and drove it down to there. It's very thin looking, just because of the way the math is picking up how choppy it is. Let's go like that. Oh, cancel. And let's see if we can move this up, and then we can fill in the weekly. See what the weekly does. What do they do? After I fill in this data, I'm going to go find out what they do. Let's see. Let's fix the weekly. Where do I go for the weekly? Let's find out. Where am I going for the weekly? Oh, I know where it is. Okay. So we have to go up here. New quote manager. That's where we have to go. Oh, and let's show you what the beta shows. I realized that there. There's the beta. And you can see it's pushed itself into the cell right there. Now let's go to, let's find it right there. Right there, and it's ARM. ARM. There's ARM. The Securities Exchange Commission and the CFTC both are in a coma, suspecting that they bought back cheaper afterwards. The bastards cashed out. Ah, okay. It was dumped by SoftBank yesterday. Ah, out of the United States, or did it start off in Hong Kong? And they're front runner weasels. There's no doubt about that. SEC doesn't care about the front runners unless you're. None of the government agencies in the United States seem to care about front runners unless there's a specific reason. You know, like some type of you're a political enemy or something like that. It seems like, or you know, some type of. They don't. The proof is right there electronically. They just choose not to pay attention to it. It's amazing. All right, here we go. We're loading in the weekly now. Let's see. Career, second remains in coma. Career making people that are there doing favors before getting job positions at the firm that they were doing favors for. Yeah, exactly. That's the way it is. You know, Washington is a swamp. It's a cesspool. You know, and that's what makes it so obnoxious overall. Let's see. I'm going to. I have to go back to. Where do I have to go back to? I got to go back to March of 2023 to straighten out the weekly. Almost there. I'm in April now. There's that. There we go. All right, March of 23. Perfect. All right, now let's put some. And we should see the weekly kick out in a few seconds here. In 10 seconds. All right, now close that. And not there. Format. Instrument. There it is right there. Let's see. Change the settings. No, cancel. There we are. That'll change the settings. There we go. Okay, there we are. There we go. Yeah, same situation. It was in the weekly buy. Now, let's go like this. That does smooth out the daily, that's for sure. All right, here you go. So you can see here, we went, yeah, they definitely definitely front run that. Boy, was it so close. Now, what's interesting is that the beta picked up the daily sell, as you can see there, on the 25th, before they announced it on the 26th, right there. So the beta was in the sell from it. But our main platform that we use right now missed it by about, I don't know, 4 or 5 ticks. And so, and you can see here the weekly, you know, went into the weekly buy right there. They front runned it 3 days in the weekly buy. Look at that. It went into the weekly buy right there. Looks like, now we got to fix those lines since it was copied. So what we'll do is we'll go over here. And let's see, there, and right there. There's the buy right there, with it in the weekly buy, back in here. So they knew this was coming. Look at that. Where was that at? That was like $78. It ran to $160 in 4 days in the daily and weekly buy, because the weekly buy went in right there. So they started front running this thing nicely. There it is right there. Too bad it didn't. The main platform didn't pick it up, whereas the beta did pick it up. I'm really starting. You know, I'm liking the beta. Once we can get the rest of the software figured out to get it to update the weekly and the daily, we'll be able to run that thing, and then we'll change the colors and make it look identical to what we have there now. SEC remains, yep. And you can't say enough ugly things about the government agencies here in the States at this point. They're just all upside down. Totally all upside down. So there is the arm. That is the arm. Let's see, let's close that. And then we'll go back to. If anybody would like to see anything, just put it up on the chat line. We'll go after it. Now, let's go back to with the dollar, right? There's that's gold. And we've moved over to gold now is in the June contract. Looks like they're taking it down this morning, aren't they? It was lifting up. We were going into the daily buy. Now it seems to be trying to roll over again. It's been in a weekly buy. You can see June has been in a weekly buy since late February. Interesting. Let's now go. We'll go back to the gold and metal. Unless someone wants to see it, we'll go back to that when we go after the South African Rand. But let's now go back to the dollar index. Right there. And there is the dollar index. Oh, so anyway, let's what do we got? There's that. Let's put this up on the screen too for you. And I thought this story was very interesting. I think, it's well worth looking at. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Let's go like there, go like there, and go like there. All right, now, here's an interesting story. There we are. We're going to put that right there and get rid of that altogether. And then you'll be able to see this. This is an interesting story. Let's go to the platform. There we go. Dollar down 20% since 2020. Biden blames greed. They make a case that greed is obviously not the problem. It's the printing of money. First, they start off assuming the CPI measurements are not underestimates. And the dollar's value has plummeted by a staggering 1/5 since 2020. Yet, rather than acknowledge its role in fueling the economic turmoil, the Biden administration is deflects casting capitalism and corporate greed as the villain. And so they go into, they say the latest February CPI data show more signs of upcoming inflation. And I keep on hearing that from a few people constantly with the 3-in-1 indicator, where they take the last 3 months of the CPI, and then they take the 12th month of the CPI and do it as an average. And it just keeps on projecting higher inflation. Now, it'll be interesting to read this because they go into the CPI here. You can see that from the Bureau of Labor Statistics right there. And then they go into, I saw them using a couple of other stats. And pulling out volatile energy and food prices, we find inflation remains stubbornly high, so-called core CPI, exactly. And so then I saw another stat. I'm not sure if it was PPI or not. It was a money supply. That's what it was. They're looking at the money supply and combining it. So it's like a closed system between CPI and money supply, and treating that as a closed system, and then they do a calculation. Now, obviously, the reason I like to bring this up and look at this type of situation is because ever since the world went bankrupt back in 2008, that we're only ones left standing in a sense. So in other words, it's really hard to look at the gain of the dollar or the loss of the dollar in value when nobody else's currency is is not surviving. I was at a board meeting last night, and they were thinking that they were thinking that the central banks could actually create cryptos. And I was like, nah, that's the antithesis of the opposite. In other words, if the Federal Reserve creates a crypto, which I've heard they're not doing, but it's a wish list for some senators in the Senate, like Warren and so forth, and what's his name, Bernie Sanders. It's a wish list to have a crypto created by the Federal Reserve. There's no way they're going to create a crypto. No one will buy it. No one will trust it. Are they going to stop charging commission to move capital through it? I doubt it. I can't even imagine it. So the only reason cryptos are cryptos is because they don't trust central banks anymore. It's not the opposite, like as if they can compete. They control the cash market, to a great extent. They, between the bond vigilantes and the battle between them and the central banks, it's a combination of fighting constantly, and the bond vigilantes usually win with no problem. So the central banks can manipulate like the stock market much easier, or bond auctions much easier. Federal bond auctions. Since they're buying it. But when it comes down to actually buying, say, Procter and Gamble bonds, or buying, Amazon bonds, or buying, corporate bonds, I'm talking about here, or buying bonds from, municipalities, they just don't have the power to influence that market, the Federal Reserve. They can influence the fringes like overnight lending, repos, so forth, but they don't have that power to do the opposite. So anyway, that's why I thought this was a very interesting article. I think a lot of people that would like to understand trying to measure the dollar and inflation, it's well worth taking a look at this, the article in Zero Hedge. All right, let's get out of there, and let's go to, let's minimize that. There we go. And so from there, so we're looking at the dollar index, and we're thinking, okay, dollar index. Now you can see today, let's go back over to the main platform. Right there. You can see dollar index is trying to lift back up again. You can see our algorithm is at a minus 0.2 at the moment right there. You see that over, can you see that? No. Let's see if we can move that over a little bit like so. Let's see if we can see it now. Still can't see it. Okay, so let's do this. So we go like that, and then try moving it over again, like so. There we are. Let's see how that goes. I guess I still didn't do it. How about that? Let's try this. There we are. One more time. There it is. Okay. And then what we can do is we can just shrink this down a little bit like that. So we can see the Dukascopy thing there. All right, and so you can see right there, we are just, now it's minus 0.01. It's very tight. Very, very tight. We're in a weekly buy for a couple weeks here now, the second week actually to be exact. And you can see we have a green and a red kind of, expressing that there could be some more volatility again. No, there's a lot more activity over the next 24 hours. So, or 2 trading days basically. So you can see here, again, minus 2 now. And so that's where we are with the dollar. It's the dollar index itself. Dollar index, I just like to remind you, is made up of 6 currencies. The 6 currencies are the most active currencies on the planet, and that starts off with the dollar and euro pairs trade, or basically reversed euro and dollar pairs trade. The second one is the dollar and the Japanese yen. Third is the British pound against the dollar. The fourth is the Canadian dollar Canadian pairs trade. The fifth is the dollar Swiss like the saltine Swiss franc, and the sixth is the kroner. They're the 6 most active currencies in the world. I know a lot of people like to pretend that like China is, bigger than what it is, and so you don't see the Chinese yuan because it's only 2.5%, whereas the saltine and the kroner are both over 4% of active trading every day. So, I mean, the second largest economy in the world is the European Union. Third is the Commonwealth. If you're trying to look at organizational structures, European Union is linked together. The Commonwealth is a part, I guess you could say. In other words, it's in Africa, it's in Belize in South America, or Central America, Jamaica, Kenya, that type of thing. Canada, in North America. And so the most active, then you can throw, China in there with a little bit bigger than Japan, or same size as Japan, or slash, this is economy-wise, and you can say, the DAX, not the DAX, the German economy or something like that. Anyhow, that's what the dollar index is. So you know what that is, since we're being little picayune this morning, not just looking at the index, but actually talking about it. All right, let's go over to the pairs trades themselves, unless anybody would like to see anything, be it a stock, a commodity, whatever. So let's go over to, there is, let's put, where's that at? There's the mouse. Too many computers with too many mice. There it is right there. There's the euro. You see, actually it's flirting with the buy, as it's just like the dollar index is flirting with the sell. The you can see it there. It's at 0.00063, now 65. It's trying to pick up a little action. You know, the algorithm is hearing it, but at the same time, look at that. The weekly is flirting below the zero line. How about that right there? So euro is feeling a little short-term or long-term pain. It's trying to get into the sell for the week, and here we are on Wednesday, hump day. And at the same time, the daily, which is down for the day, but the algorithm is trying to turn up. We'll see how that plays out by the end of the day. Now, from there, we jump over to cable. And there's cable. You can see cable's been basically playing with the weekly sell all week long. And you can see the daily is trying to get into the buy again. That too, and that's been in the sell for 4 days. Since it went into the sell on this particular bar, and it's been went into the sell there, and it went into a buy for a day, and then back into the sell. It's been feeling some interesting pain. From there, and let's take a look at it on an intraday basis, which is always fun. I love doing that. And there is let's go back to the euro. There's the euro. Euro went into a sell right there on our math and our algorithm. Possibly that one. No, it was that one. That one put it into the sell, which is the third. 1, 2, 3. It went into the sell here and rolled over. And then it got back into the buy right there. Where's it at? 2 over. This one went into the buy right there. And barely climbed for a couple bars, and then this wild hair knocked it down, and then that is a loss. Took a little of this profit you had there, so not too bad. And then it jumped back in. It was in the sell from, I guess, from there all the way over to here, right there. So that was a loss. Never broke down below it, and then it went back into the buy right there. Is that? One of these is a buy. Either way, it gained. And you can see pretty much the way it's played throughout the morning here, since the European Open. Yeah, pretty much holding with the 8.5% success rate out of 10. Not bad. From there, let's take a look at cable. Cable's fun. There's cable. So it went into the sell off of that nice slide there. Went into that buy right there, which is fair at most. And the explanation of this is when all the colors are below one line. So in other words, the blue and the green are above the zero line here. Let's just throw the zero line in for a fun identification. There's the zero line right there. So when they're all underneath it, it goes into a sell like where it slid down there. When they're all on the plus side right there, they get into the buy for that ride there. And now they went into the sell 2 bars, this bar right there on the big one. So it's in a sell right now trying to go down. We'll see how that does. And then we will jump over to the great inflation fighters, the Swiss pairs trade. Just to let you see the action of that there. The action there. Action, A-C-T-I-O-N. All right. You see it's breaking down, so that's fine. Let's go over to the Swiss. Here it is. There's the Swiss. And Swiss has been in that buy. Daily buy since here, and a weekly buy since back in here. We talked about it. Maybe we'll see a 1/3 retracement back from that 83, which would put it up to 92. So there we are. We said that last couple days. You see it's trading at 90.69.7. So it has to put a little bit more punch, I guess, in it. That'll be 1/3 retracement back from the high of 101 and change back over a year ago, and then they started fighting. And then we saw the Swiss break it down all the way down to the 83s, and then gaining. When the Swiss goes down, it's gaining against the dollar. When the Swiss is going up on the chart here, it's losing against the dollar. Okay. And so then from there, we go over to the yen. Now the yen went up and banged on, I guess, the 52? Did it go hit 52? No, 51.97. And it's still in the buy. We had a green and a red dot, so that tells you that some action's coming. And sure enough, it took out the high from yesterday and the low. It's getting some action there. And we are in the weekly buy from last week, but not really going anywhere at the moment. And there is the yen. So from the yen, we slide over to the great experiment, as we like to call it. That is the euro Turkish lira pairs trade. It's the second day in a buy. Let's still steal one of those greens. Put it right there. There it is. We just put that in there to remind you. And it's been in that weekly buy since the cows came home. All the way back in August. See, it went into September. Went into the weekly buy right there. And put these lines in just to show you where the colors all are on one side of the zero line. So it's going on half a year now. August, September, October, November, December, January, February. Now we're getting ready to clean ourselves out of March. That's 8 months almost. So it's and this is not abnormal for the great experiment, as we like to call it, the euro Turkish lira pairs trade in currencies, because we've seen this product go 54 weeks in a weekly buy. We've seen it go 52 weeks in a weekly buy. We've been following it now for 11 years, ever since it was trading at 1-to-1 with the euro almost, and now it's trading at 1-to-35. So that's why we call it the great experiment. It's an industrialized nation, a member of NATO, and the currency is everywhere. I mean, the inflation rate is up around the official inflation rate is 60 some odd percent by the Turkish central bank. But when you look at the currency, it's at 161%. So it's hard to identify exactly, but not doing well. Let's put it that way. This there is the all-time high, and no more than 5 days ago or 6 days ago, right there, it was the all-time closing, right there, just 5 days ago, and then they backed it off a little bit, and now it's trying to climb again, and we figured it'll get trapped into the 37 area in the end. From there, we go over to the South African Rand. Let's see how the Rand is looking today. There it is right there. Kind of trapped in like almost a triangle now. It does look like a triangle. Matter of fact, it's looking like a big triangle. Basically, you could look at it this way. That to there. This is more politics than it is about the metals anymore. They just cannot get out of their own way. The ANC's got the country upside down, I guess you could say. It has that look like it's a triangle. Something's going on there. Let's make those lines white, and I think we're going to leave them there because it is acting like that. And that's, again, there's an industrial nation that is just falling apart from its politics now for like the last 10, 15 years. It just gets worse and worse and worse. At one time, you could, when the I guess it's the president, when the president, they found over $500,000 in cash in his office underneath a sofa cushion, which sounds like one of my normal jokes, but it's a fact. And so when they found that, they tried to get him to resign. He refused to resign. And I would say that the South African Rand now is probably about 35% has a haircut. That's what we used to call it on the trading floors. In other words, it's probably discounted, or let's say a premium has been put into it because of the problems in the country. So, and we could even go deeper back. Remember, that happened in December of, was it last year? Yeah, it's over a year now. And so if we scrunch this all up, this is where I really miss J4X. And when you scrunch it all up, where the disaster occurred, let's see if we can get that in there. they drove it up to, let's see, they drove it up to that. This is where it was December, right in here. And so this product was trading down in the 17. Oop, messed that up. Let's go like this. There. Stretch it out. No, stretch it out. Stretch it out. There we go. So it is an interesting looking situation. They can't get this thing to, ever since the, let me see if I can add a couple more weeks to this. Ever since that situation in politics where they tried to get the guy to resign and he just refused to resign, then it really turned into a disaster. And it just doesn't seem to reflect. Let's see, that's the daily. Let's try the weekly. Let's send the weekly even further back too. Like that. There we are. So it used to, you could, if the South African rand was gaining against the dollar, you knew that gold was going to go up, and vice versa. You know, it was constant, it was very solid, and ever since the political situation kicked out, it just isn't as accurate anymore. And we follow that. Oh, there it is. I have it there from the $500,000 in cash. See that? And so once that happened, it just turned it into a real disaster. And so at that point, it was trading at 17. And gold back in February of 23, I believe was trading at, let's see, this is where I really missed J4X. Gold in 23, let's see if we can get it up on a screen here. But gold in 23, going from late 22, I think was trading in the $1,600 area. So when you look at, let's see if we can do here. What am I doing? There's that. So let's go to here, trading, and there we go. And then let's look at gold. There we are. And let's go back to 5 years. Full screen. Okay, there we go. Now you'll see the same thing I'm seeing right there. So back in 2022, 23, we had gold down in here going into that December situation. Gold was trading at 1,650, 1,630, something like that, right? And now it's trading at, it's been as high as 2,200. Right now, obviously, let's see, whoa, let's see if we can widen this a little bit more so you can see it better. You know, from there to here. Gold now, it's been as high as over 2,200, and all we see is the South African rand going in the wrong direction. In other words, it should be down around 13 or 12 or something like that nature, okay? And that's what the problem is. It's not. That's what the problem is. It's not. And so, let's see, let's go back to the beta. Where's the beta at? Right there. Did we just blow up the beta? Where's the beta at? There's that. There's that. Okay, there it is. Okay, so there's the beta. And so that's what's the problem, is that the we're not getting that. Like, we used to do the same thing ever since Trudeau got trapped in that strange government that he has now, linked with the socialists. So you have labor and socialists running the place. Basically, we see the same thing with the dollar-Canadian pairs trade, where it's not following the energy sector anymore. Now we have gold and silver not following the South African rand market anymore in currency. So that's why we look at those things there. I hope that makes some sense. Just let me know if I'm not making any sense. Let's see. Let's go to, where are we going now? Now we're done looking at the currency pairs themselves. And we go over to Goldie. And there it is today. We're looking at the June contract. It's in a sell for 3 days, and it's tried to pop up. It gapped up there, and it tried to lift this morning, and we had a little green line in there for a while. Now it's failing. We went into that weekly buy down there in the 2050 area, and then it ran all the way up to 22.26, which I believe is an all-time high for that contract there. And so that's why we're like looking at, let's just do this one more. Oh, you can't see it. Here we go. Right there. And that's why when we do look at gold and we go, wow, South African Rand is not following at all anymore, which was, like I said, it was a great tool. So, all right, from there we'll go over to silver. There is silver. And you can see silver, been sliding softly, not really getting beat up that much. But again, now this product is not following the gold silver pair straight anymore. I mean, it's running very poorly. The all-time high in silver is around $52, and all-time high in gold is $2,226. And one is, right now we're trading at, where's gold at? Gold's like in the, it's just, you can see here, it's over 50% lower in the silver, and when it comes to the gold, we're only like 3% off of its numbers. We're at $2,206, almost $7, and we're not even 1%, not even 1% off. So the pairs trades, and then when we obviously get even crazier and go over and look at the platinum, the C platinum cruising around in these numbers. Look at that. They've put a smack into the platinum now, playing with the $900 area. The product has been up in the 960-ish area, hangs out down in the low 80s area. It's 100%, it's 50% off of gold now. So you got gold at 2,000, you have platinum under 1,000. I mean, a lot of, that's why I went to, when I saw that article trying to put CPI and money supply together to try to measure the dollar's value. It sounds like an interesting concept. It's a closed system because you can measure money supply and you can measure CPI. And it's all out of the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So at least you have the same number crunchers doing the same numbers. So it's an interesting concept because obviously, we see, when we go back to the currencies itself, we finished off at them, but when we go back to the currencies, let's save this too. This is turning into an interesting looking thing there. Like the euro there, it's trading at 108. It's hanging out, and it's been hanging out, and it went down to 95, went to an all-time low about a year ago. Let's see if we can get it in on the screen here. Boy, I miss J4X. So then you can see right there. There it is. There's the all-time low. Right there. Right there. And, it's, talking from 95 to 108. It's not bad. I mean, hell, it's not the Turkish lira. Going from 1 to 36. Ow! Not 1 to 108. Wouldn't people in Turkey be happy if it was just a 2? A little than 36. All right. From there, we go over to copper. Let's go take a look at copper. There's copper. And again, I really thought this spike right there was a TikTok thing. I honestly did. Also, it was a combination. TikTok and slash the government says in China. Matter of fact, yesterday they had a big get together with Chairman X and Apple's chairman and all, dozens. I think there's a picture of it. We can even show you a picture of where's it at? We'll show it to you. A picture of X with a bunch of U.S. corporate chairmen. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. There we go. Let's see. There it is. And you see that these are like all these, probably the clown from BlackRock was there and so forth. Let's see. I think they have a list of who was there. Yeah, there we go. So we had State Media X held Great Hall of People's Beijing X and CEOs along with Chief Executive Officers of FedEx and Evan Greenberg. Let's see, of Chubb. Oh, good. I'm sure the Chubbs would love that. And thank goodness Percy's passed on. Steven. This is Stephen. Let's see. National Committee on U.S.-China Relations, and another council of that, and then Bloomberg was there. Mark Carney, chairman of Bloomberg. Okay, and the chairman of, let's see. Oh, since Biden held bilateral. Let's see, APAC. Let's see, any other corporations, but there was a bunch of them there, and they were chatting up X, and X was chatting up them, and so that's kind of like where we're at this point, going nowhere slowly. But I thought that pop in copper, I thought that was like a sign that, the world is hoping that China, hoping that China would start to stimulate their economy, but they just don't have the money. They're bankrupt. So they got about $1 trillion sitting here in the States, and believe me, the last thing they're going to do is take it away. They want to make sure, those communists definitely want to know they can, if they get overtaken, they have control of $1 trillion hidden away in the United States. So that's where they are at this point. They're stuck in this limbo. Their country's not growing. Their real estate market is collapsing. They can't even find 10 and 20 and $30 million to pay off creditors when they have 10 or 15 or $20 billion they've taken from those creditors. So why our media keeps on trying to tell us that they're the second largest economy in the world, and they got a fixed currency that barely trades 3% a day, and it's fixed to the dollar, no less. So I don't know. It's the strangest fantasy I've ever seen. It's one of the greatest fantasies. I saw one this morning about a Nobel Prize, because this guy in 2003 won the Nobel Prize, but he doesn't get along with mainstream physics and science. Every time I Google his name, it doesn't show that he won the Nobel Prize anymore. It's somewhere, so I got to go up on the Nobel website and look at in 2003 to make sure that they didn't take it away from him. All right, so that's the metals complex. Now let's go over to the energy complex. There's crude oil, and at the same time, let's take a look at it on the beta. Where's the beta at? Crude. There it is, right there. So you can see, it's flirting. It was underneath, now it's above. We have crude oil at 0.04, now it's 0.03. 0.03, now it was 0.05. There's 5 again. It's bouncing around in there. It's 3 weeks in a weekly buy, as you can see right here. Let's see if the mouse is picking that up. Right in here. Yep. So it's been in a buy for 3 weeks now, very solidly. And then we go and let's look at it on the beta, because we're going to go over to North Sea oil from there. So right there is, it's a third day in a buy. You can see it's 6 weeks in a buy on the crude right there. And then let's go over to, where's it? North Sea oil right there. North Sea, Brent, 3 days in a buy. Same thing here. And a weekly buy of 5 weeks. And then we go over to Nat Gas, which we've switched now to the June contract. June? No, May. I'm sorry, May contract. And that thing has been in a sell for a while. Playing around with the one. Oh, they broke the 105 there yesterday. How about that? Let's see if we can do this. Make that larger so you can see it. So yesterday it got down to, broke 105, got a low of 104. What was the low? 104.81. So the Nat Gas has been in a sell since back in here in, what's that, the beginning of, what is that? That's the 7th of March. And it's been in a weekly sell for over 10 weeks. And then let's put it up on the beta. No, I'm sorry, the main platform. Let's go back to the main platform on this. There it is right there. May. And so there is the same situation. Been in that sell from the 2 and change. 210, something like that. Now down to that. Now that's showing there, it got down to, what is that? So why? That is the 20. Okay, so let's see. We go like this. Because it's showing today's the it is the 27th today. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's do this. See if we can straighten that out. Because yesterday's doesn't show that low. Now there it does, doesn't it? This is the 25th that got down to 1.7. And they're saying the 26th it got down to 1.7. But our beta is telling us it's slipped even further down. That's why we like our new beta platform. We just need to get it to update a little bit better. That's all. All right. So then from the natural gas, we will go over to Spain and take a look at the energy company down in Spain and see. Now we saw that stock. That we look at the stock itself of this energy company, and it drifted underneath the $20 area. We were thinking it was going further south, and it did not. It's playing around right there. You can see it. We'll just do that like that. You can see it's bounced underneath the 1980 and down to the 19. Oops, didn't want to do that. 1966 is the low yesterday. So it's showing that it made a low yesterday of something, and now it's at, where's it at now? It's closing at 1992 as we speak, trading in the 1992 area. All right, and that is the energy sector. If anybody has a question, we have a few more minutes here, so let's take a look at the Nikkei. Let's see what the Nikkei is up to today. There's the Nikkei. There's the Nikkei. Was higher, but closed on the lows of the day, but still a little bit up from yesterday. You can see we're a third day in a sell, and the weekly is still, oh, look at that. They're flirting now with a weekly sell. Interesting. Then from there, we will go to the Kospi in South Korea. Same situation, pushing into the sell. It's actually lower today. Not much, but lower. And then the weekly is still 10 weeks in a weekly buy. Then we drift off to the Taiwan, the Taipei index, the chip index. You can see it pushed itself into a sell yesterday. It's on a second day of it, but notice it's closing a little bit higher, but we got a red dot going on still. And so then we've been in a weekly buy for 10 full weeks also. From there, we go over to let's do the Nifty 50 today. We'll start off with Nifty 50 right there out of India. You see 3 days in a buy, still cruising along. What is that? That's the 22nd. That's the 20th. They must have a holiday. I think there's a holiday going on over there. So they didn't have a Monday. That's what it is. So there's 3 days in a buy, Friday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And you can see we're 3 weeks in a sell, so it's not doing, it's moving in opposite directions. The longer term is heading down, the shorter term trying to head up. And you can see the longer term of 3 weeks definitely has been pressuring itself down like that, coming from the 22,600 area down to the 21,600 area. All right, and then from there, what do we got here? We've got, let's do this. Let's check out the All Ordinary in Australia. And that's holding up pretty well today, strong. It's been in a buy for 5 days, 6 days now, and 10 weeks. So they're pushing it up. Even when they got up to that area, it dropped down and then it's climbed right back in there again because we're in that weekly buy. So the longer term trend is up and away. From there, we'll drift over to, let's see what the DAX looks like out of Germany this morning in Frankfurt. Looking very strong there. What is that? That's 7 days now in a buy. And you can see another high there. And we've been in, 9 weeks in a weekly buy. Looking very fine all the way back there in the 17,000 area. And now we're in the 18,500 area. So it's doing just fine. From there, we'll go to Paris and see what the CAC 40 is looking like. Again, another product that's trying to take out its highs. And it's a second day in the buy. And 10 weeks in the weekly buy. So not bad there. And then we'll go to London and look at the FTSE. FTSE is showing a little weakness here today. You can see it right there. Pressing down. And the weekly is 8 weeks in a weekly buy. We'll dance our way over to the States and give you a quick look at our other products. Oh, here we go. What do we got? What happened? Career making people. I came back and there is a move up on stock futures. What else is new? This gives me hope that already dead option calls will live once again. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I have a great story about that. When I was a member at the American Stock Exchange, one of my old partners, which I wasn't a partner with anymore, calls me and he says, "My trader quit." I said, "What do you mean your trader quit?" He says, "My trader quit, and I've got something like, some crazy number, like 5,000 call options in Motorola." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" He says, "Go over and take a look at the crowd and see if there's anything going on." I said, "All right. Do you want me to sell calls against it? What do you want?" "Nah, they paid for themselves. They're like at a steam. See if there's any markets floating around, any news on it." I said, "Okay." So I go over, do that, come back, and I give him a call. I said, "Nah, it's a quiet place right now." I said, "Let me know if you want somebody to sell some calls against it. I can do it if you want." And so I guess it was about 2 weeks later, Motorola did something. I don't know. Maybe they did, what was that crazy satellite thing they put up in the sky in the beginning? Meridian or something like that. And the stock went up like $20. The options went to like $4. Like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5,000 times, something like that. And he had a trader did the same thing in Philadelphia back in 84 or 85 with City Service. He quit. Had this big position on, and he quit because it went negative. And he said, "What are you quitting for? Just hold on." And sure enough, he made like $4.5 million from it when Armour and Hammer took out City Service. Anyhow, this is Doc. That's Doc rambling about the past. I'm an old trader. Oh yeah. Anyhow, this is Doc from North America. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same channel on Thursday, the last day of the week. That's right. Oh, I got to send over to you what I'm doing on Friday and Monday. Okay, I'll do that too so you can get the thing set up today. I'll get that done today. And so this is Doc from North America saying, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Catch you. Have a good trading day. This is Doc, over and out.